Oh no, my health passport has gone from green to orange. I have 2 weeks to get my quarterly booster shot or my passport will turn red and I won't be able to enter any public place. Today is Wednesday. We're allowed to walk in designated public nature areas Wednesdays and Sundays. I always look forward to these days of the week. I'm sure glad we're still allowed to take walks in these zones. The fall colors are so beautiful. At least nature never seems to change, even though society is changing beyond all recognition. I'm having a hard time keeping up with all the new rules. Wow, the trees are stunning this time of year. I always used to look forward to the fall and Thanksgiving with friends. That was before social gatherings were permanently banned. They told us they needed to protect us from the many unhealthy conversations that were taking place with too much misinformation. I remember the before times not too many years ago. I used to hike and camp all over the place, going wherever I pleased. That was before the Queen's lands were closed to the public. Now it takes a special permit to enter, and those permits are almost impossible to get. My wife and I used to drive all over the US and camp. Now the federal Mother Earth lands have been closed off too. We're lucky we got to travel freely for quite a few years. International travel is now a thing of the past. I'd better watch it. I'm not allowed to stray more than 3 miles from home. If I do, that could bring down my social credit score. I can't afford to get below 600 or they'll scale back my universal basic income. We used to have savings and an independent income. We didn't have to worry about making ends meet back then. Yes, things have certainly changed a lot. Ever since the new people's dollar came into effect, it's been hard to make ends meet. I can't afford to break any rules. My wife and I used to drive around just for fun. That was before we were limited to 20 miles per week. That's all going to be gone too. Within 4 years, they've decreed, private vehicles are going to be banned altogether. Soon, self-driving cars, what they're calling freedom cars, will be fully online. I must admit, I liked the old chaotic ways of being able to go anywhere we wanted, anytime we wanted. I'd better stop thinking like this. Next week I have an appointment with a government happiness representative. I need to assure her that my thinking is right, or they'll dial back my income. If she's not satisfied, they might even send me to do another stint in a happiness re-education facility. Man, I'll do anything to prevent that from happening again. I should be getting home soon. Home. That's another thing I have to make a decision on. They've told us that our home is too large for just 2 people, that our carbon footprint is just too big. They said we should be less selfish and think about the collective good, that we should move to a small smart apartment in the middle of the city. Failure to do this might bring down our social credit score. Yes, things sure changed fast. I can hardly keep up with it all. When it really started to change quickly is when they implemented the health passport, which they later renamed the Patriotic Liberty Passport. I wish we had known in the before times what they were really up to. Maybe we wouldn't have gone along so easily. But we were scared, and they assured us that everything would go back to normal soon. When they said they'd build back better, No one knew this is what they meant. Back then, most people still thought governments represented the people. How naive we all were. We didn't realize that all governments had been taken over by large corporations who use the levers of legislation to wipe out small business and to create monopolies for themselves, as well as new markets. There's no one out here. Most people stay at home these days. Strangely, a lot of people don't seem to mind this new world. They don't need to take responsibility for their own lives. They just need to follow orders. This new world suits them just fine. For a lot of us, though, this new world is hard. I wish we hadn't been so asleep back then and had realized what they were up to. Too late now. Whoa, what time is it? I have to get home before my 2-hour recreation time runs out on my contact tracing app.